Hey everybody, welcome to Gootz's Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Gootz, with Andrew Lee. Andrew Lee, bro, how you doing, bro?
I'm all right. Got a little bit of a cough. I apologize in advance, but other than that, I'm doing fantastic.
I'm doing good too. Hey, the streak has been broken. I had a shirt that was related to every pay-per-view up until this one, but I did kind of wear something that's in its honor. What do you can you tell what this is, Andrew Lee?
Oh God, is it Harlequin?
No, it's an Alexa Bliss Christmas sweater.
Alexa Bliss. Did you have a Jordan Grace shirt?
No, I don't have a Jordan Gray shirt.
Do you have like a Nick Bockwinkel or an AWA shirt?
No.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
realize Nick Bockwinkel was on. I wish I had a Jim Cornette shirt because then so
Yeah,
guys,
Jim Cornette shirt. Yeah.
I don't have it. So, guys, we are discussing LPWA Super Ladies Showdown. This was the first all women's wrestling pay per view in America. This is the LPWA's first show. This takes place a
Whoa, whoa,
few.
whoa. No. I'm pretty sure the first all women's pay per view was WWE's Revolution or Evolution. I forget what it's called.
Oh
What was
yeah, we're
that?
not supposed. Yes, only when WWE does something do we acknowledge.
Yeah, only when they do something like with the first of its kind.
Yeah. Well, this is LPWA, and I have to admit, I was pleasantly surprised with how good this show was.
Do you remember what I said last time
What'd you say? You said you hate
in the
women?
last pod? I said my maybe because my expectations are so low, it won't be that bad. Like because I
Yeah.
had really low expectations, and I think that helps when that helps when you have really low expectations because then there's only no place to go but up. So
I
because so
kind
I
of
also didn't think it was the worst.
well, it was way better than Starcade 91. We'll say that. So if you paid for this and not Star, I thought because the same guy who did Glow and WoW did this, that there was going to be more of an emphasis on cheesecake and tits and ass than work rate. And this was a show all about the work rate. This was not a show about look at these chicks fucking titties.
Wait, was it really done by the same guy who did Glow? I think it was.
He was one of the owners, yeah.
He was one of the owners. Yeah, but maybe he learned his lesson from
Well, then he
the
unlearns
Glow
his
incident.
lesson for
Yeah,
WoW, which will when we get to
that's
that.
why he probably it was like, oh yeah. Well, maybe this one failed, and that's why he said we got to go back to the
I
cheesecake.
think this feels to me like we're gonna take the Japanese approach to women's wrestling to the American audience.
Hmm.
We're gonna see, and obviously it didn't work because nobody even remembers that this happened. But
Yeah, that's why he went back to the cheesecake.
yeah, so like I thought it was gonna be 3 hours of shitty matches, and it wasn't. Some of these matches blew away a lot of the stuff we've seen on WCW and even last
So,
week.
so here's my thing on this. I understand what he was trying to do with this, and he's trying to go for like higher quality,
Mhm.
but we're bringing this Japanese thing. But here's the thing about cheesecake. Cheesecake sells. It sells.
I
Dude, that's why
know.
Glow is still in the lexicon of like wrestling even to this day. There was a documentary on Netflix, there was a show on Glow on Netflix, and now it's still currently a version of it is right now currently on TV. Nobody's watching it, but it
Wow,
still
wow.
exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
reason why is because
I know, but I think these guys saw the vision, which came true, where
mhm.
people are watching women's matches for the work rate and the drama, just like we're watching Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat. Because, I'm sure if you're a gay guy, you're turned on by like, I don't know, Hangman Page. Probably not. No one's turned on by him. But you get my point. But you're also like invested. You're not just like, oh, I just want to look at this guy's ass. You're like invested in the storyline of the match. And that's what his goal was. Because I think that was so hard to get US wrestling fans like invested in the work rate and the story of the women's matches rather than just, I'm just gonna jerk off to this chick and cry.
The WWE does the best because they combine the two, which is what you're supposed to do. You're
Yeah.
supposed to combine the cheesecake, which is have hot women, right?
Mhm.
Scantily clad, dressed, right? Who are that are doing great matches and good storylines, and that's what WWE has. You can't just be putting on bangers. No, this is where Tony Khan makes a mistake too. Just bangers after bangers after bangers. Guess what? People don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Sheamus. Fuck you.
They don't. They don't. They just like in a perfect world, if you have both those two things, like the storyline, the showmanship mixed in with the banger aspect, then you'll have huge fans. But if
But
you're just doing
also,
bangers, which this show was just trying to just produce bangers with no people who don't know anything about these wrestlers. That's why you're only drawing 400 people that just
but
show
also,
did.
okay, but also like the cheesecake, the level of hot chicks who are actually really talented workers, it's not a big pool back in 1992.
No, it didn't
I mean,
exist so much.
without Medusa, you're basically fucked. And Sherry, and they're in WCW and WWF. So like those like the two hottest chicks that could work, and they're not available. So
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
Well,
you could pull up Sasha Banks and take.
yeah, yeah. I'll give them that. Granted, back then in 1992, there wasn't a lot to choose from. But
But
I will say this: I'll give them that. From the people that they could choose from, they did a pretty good job picking some of the talent for the show because it was a not a bad show.
did you watch the pre-show?
I thought about it and then I said no.
I watched it.
I listened to a little bit of it and I was just like, I don't want to.
Well, you know what it was. It was pretty good because it gives you information on everyone on the show. So, and
All
being
right,
that I've never really watched the show before, it was good.
that's good. I see. Maybe you could tell us a little about the pre-show. You want
I
to tell
kind of
us?
forgot. I forgot a lot what they said, but it
Okay,
was good.
it's okay.
It was
So
good
we are going to be
at the time.
reviewing the LPWA, which stands for Ladies Professional Wrestling Association's first and only pay-per-view, the Super Ladies Showdown, which takes place February 23rd in 1992, Rochester, Minnesota. 400 people are in attendance. Jim Cornette and Mick Karch, they do the pre-show countdown, which, as Ray said, it goes over kind of like a profile of each,
Yeah,
I guess, competitor. It's like a 30-minute thing.
rundown
It's
of each match, and it's just like it gives you because you don't really know these people, so it gets you
yeah,
like.
I don't think that's a bad concept for a pre-show. That's a pretty good concept.
Well, also like if you watch this on YouTube, it starts with the pre-show. It doesn't start. Yeah, so you have to either fast forward or sit through it. I
Yeah,
sat through it because I'm like, I need to see, and I was also shocked to see Jim Cornette on this.
he helped a lot. Jim Cornette was he's one of the glues on this show, definitely. He was the glue. So the show opens with a graphic of cat statues as ring posts around this neon ring, because women are always, they all be catty sometimes, you know?
Mhm.
That's what I got. I was like, why cats? And I was like, oh,
It's cat fighting, even though they're
Yeah.
going to be doing like Chris Benoit moves.
Yeah. When I saw the cat ring post, I was like expecting like cat fights and like I was like, oh dear lord. I was legit like, oh god. They're like literally gonna lean into it. Jim Cornette and Joe Pedicino are on commentary. If you don't know who Joe Pedicino is, he was actually a longtime wrestling commentator who actually created the idea of Superstars of Wrestling. It was a TV show that featured wrestling from like all over the NWA territories. Um, he passed away on April 2020 at the age of 70, but he was involved in wrestling for a long time, like
Yeah.
doing his own fan base shows. But I would say his greatest achievement was being married to Bonnie Blackstone for 30 fucking years.
Oh yeah, she. Did you hear what Jim Cornette said? Like basically implying that she's a hoe. Like you hear his little comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Dude, when I found out this guy was married to her, I was like,
I think he had a lot of money.
I was gonna say, well, he was married to her for 30 years. She was with him when he died,
Yeah.
you know? Um, maybe it was money, but that's a fucking long time to be married to someone. It's probably gonna be like love, but he ruins it for like out of shape guys. You know why? Because this is like it's like the worst thing to happen. He is like the worst thing to happen to like out of shape guys because guys goes they'll go, see, it could happen to me. I'm like, well, slow it down,
Look,
bud. Right? Just because this guy got himself like an ex model for a wife, and he looks like the fucking blueberry girl from fucking Charlie and the Charlie Chocolate Factory, doesn't mean it's gonna happen to everybody.
no,
But
relax.
yeah, relax. But anyway, I know what I definitely know she didn't marry him for his commentary skills because he sucked. Um, All right, let's go right into it. Nick Bockwinkel, by the way.
Nick
And
Bockwinkel's there doing like the analysis between every match, and he could tell he actually is like putting real thought into his thoughts.
yeah. Not Sue so much, but definitely Nick.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually the commentators they run down the entire card and they actually throw it to Mick Karch. I think it's a Karch. Was it? I already forgot. Yeah, Karch. He's in the tunnel. He's gonna be doing interviews in the tunnel. And Bonnie Blackwell, who is Blackstone, who is Joe's wife, she will be doing commentary in like a suite area. And then they showed that Nick Bockwinkel and Sue Henning, who is Mr. Perfect's sister, they're going to be doing analysis of each competitor in each match. Um, it's funny because when they first get on camera, they're like sitting at they're sitting in their booth, and Nick goes, "Go ahead," to Sue, and Sue like she's not TV ready, so in TV, even you can't even take like a 2 second pause because it's
yeah,
too long, right?
yeah.
But she doesn't get right into it, so Nick just goes for it after he says, "Go ahead," and then when she didn't pause, he just went and he just spoke the whole time. And when he's doing that, you see Sue just like stare at him, looking like this motherfucker. That's why
Well,
what she
listen, Nick Bockwinkel is experienced, and I did like the fact I thought having Nick Bockwinkel and I think Brad Regans comes later, and then Jim Cornette. I think it's more to. I think it was a nice touch to be like, this is serious wrestling. Like we're not here. We're not here to stare at their asses. This is serious wrestling.
yeah, definitely. But I would say Sue definitely did not need to be. Was Larry
I
Hennig
think
not a
they wanted some women there, not just a bunch of old white men.
because this was definitely like also like let's use a lot of the AWA Minnesota like recognizable names because
Yeah.
they're all over this fucking show.
Well, they also probably realized we got to have Nick Bockwinkel there to draw people in the building. So
Yeah, but everybody involved in this, almost
yeah,
everybody, is like from AWA.
AWA alum. Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, they show you Wally Carbo, who's like a raisin of a man at this point, and he reads a teleprompter. By the way, we're just talking about AWA. He's actually the co-founder of AWA, and he was part of the show, so everybody knows Wally Carbo if you live in the Minnesota area. And at this point, I'm just like, this show is taking fucking forever to start, right? Because they're just going through all the people involved. Then they show Al Darush, who is going. He is the former TV director of the AWA, and he's in the ring, and he's gonna be the ring announcer. And as they're showing each person, like Jim Cornette just shits on everybody, right? He's making fun of Joe for being fat. He's making fun of Al for being old, and like, it's just kind of funny. And then they finally they do this thing called the parade, a
Don't they
women
do
parade
this in
or whatever.
Japanese wrestling too?
They do, but like, I mean, this was so shitty. I don't know why. It's basically they call it a parade, but they just like come out and they just like go right into the ring, but the entryway is like short, so it's just pretty much they're coming into the ring. And
Mhm.
the fans are catcalling. It's just like they all just stand there, and then Al asks everyone to sing the national anthem. We are 10 minutes into this paper.
Well,
Not
for
a
me, it
single
was
match.
almost an hour because I watched the
Dude,
pre.
I was dying. I was like, when is the wrestling going to start? It was like 10 minutes. This whole thing was 10 minutes. This is terrible. Terrible way to start. Yeah, if you watch the pre-show, this is like you've been sitting there for like 40 minutes at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Best
So
10 minutes of my life. Anyway.
yeah. So Nick and Sue, they do analysis of the first match, and Nick Bockwinkel picks the Joshi team for our first match. Mami Kitamura and Mickey Honda versus Allison Royal and Lisa Starr. Uh, Al does a terrible job announcing. Kind of, he gets better, but the first one he was like, ugh. Lisa Starr is the biggest. She's like the biggest person in this match, and her moves are just a little bit awkward. But let me tell you, the Joshis were killing it here.
Mm-hmm.
They were fucking all over the place. Mami Kitamura, Mura, she is the smallest person in this match. She might even be one of the smallest wrestlers on the show
Mm-hmm.
total. But she's really fucking good. She's very good. The finish comes when Allison Royal, she's up on top, and Mommy, she goes up, and she's really small. She basically picks her up and hits like a rotating power slam from the top rope.
Dude, it was
For the
so
win.
impressive.
So impressive because
I've
she's
never
so
seen anything like
small.
that before or since.
Yeah, she's so small and like she doesn't struggle. It's not like her arms. She just grabs her, just fucking. I'm thinking because when you're small, it's like you know how like Taz was really good at suplexes because he was really small.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because he gives you leverage, and you still have to be strong. Don't get me wrong, but it was crowd pop for that. It was amazing. This was a 3-minute match. This is the shortest match that will be on this pay per view, and it sucks because Mami, I would say, she was probably one of the best wrestlers on this pay per view, and she was
Yeah,
getting
there's plenty good wrestling. Is this the match where Jim Cornette like reprimands the crowd and like they don't understand, like they're booing the Japanese wrestlers because they're Americans, but they don't understand they're seeing great wrestling, or is it a different match?
I think. I mean, I think it's a different match. He says it a couple times because the crowd does pop in this match
Yeah,
because Mami is.
I think it's the first match between two Asian women where he like kind of like gets
I
annoyed with
think
the
it
crowd.
might have been. I think it might have been. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it might have. So thoughts
You know
on
what?
this first match, man? I
This
know
was
it's
a great
short.
great way to start. That finishing when I saw that finishing move, I was like, oh, like they're taking this show seriously. Like this is not gonna be Stan Hansen smacking Missy Hyatt in the ass. Get out of my locker room, bitch. This is like a serious show. And that's when I started like, okay, I kind of knew from the pre-show it was gonna be a serious show, but you never know, you know?
Mhm.
And
I agree with you, by the way, because to Allison Royal and Lisa Starr's credit, they also wrestled none of that bullshit, fabulous Moolah style wrestling, with
yeah,
grabbing the hair and shit like that. You know?
yeah, this was like, okay, here we go. And you know what's so weird to me? Because Jim Cornette now does not like Japanese female wrestlers, and you can tell he's like a real fan back here. Like,
Okay, no, I would say it's because it's different. It's
okay,
different. I bet you if you showed him like a Stardom match, he probably wouldn't hate it so much.
mhm.
But where we see like
He's
you
like
have to
that.
understand,
I get why he does like Maki. I think Maki Ito is an insult to all these women.
yeah, but I think Riho is too.
Yeah. Oh, really? You don't like?
Because yeah, because Rio's really like like the reason why we don't like Eddie Kingston is like he's out of shape, so it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
right? Rio's the same thing. She's fucking tiny, and it just doesn't like she doesn't have any ounce of muscle on her arms, and or she doesn't have leg muscles, she doesn't have arm muscles. It's just like too fucking it's just too unbelievable to me, Like she should be if she's gonna look like that, her wrestling should be like getting her ass kicked for most of the match and somehow pulling out a victory at the end. Like instead she's like doing all these moves and like she's picking people up and slamming like you gotta fucking pick somebody up and slam. Like, come on. And I think that's why it's now that Japanese wrestling is from Tokyo Joshi Pro,
Yeah.
right? And that's like the Maki Itos and all that shit. And that's the kind of dude. That's not the same wrestling as this Joshi
No,
wrestling.
no, no. This is better.
Yeah, and that's why I think he hates that stuff because that you're right. That's an insult to
I
all of
think
wrestling.
you know what it is. I think also he respects the fact that they're trying to be real wrestlers, and I don't think he likes that. When you try to be like a real, like,
Yes.
I'm gonna cut. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, but if you're like cutting promos about winning championships and settling feuds and you're in the ring working your work rate, he's a fan of you whether you're a man or woman. I actually saw. I didn't see the clip, but he said he took this job because he wanted to help have people take women's wrestling more seriously in this country.
Okay, yeah, I could buy that. I'm sure money had something to do with it too. But
Oh,
yeah, I believe it. And here's the thing about Rio too, that Jim Cornette doesn't like her. She was a 9-year-old girl who wrestled like an adult Kenny
oh,
Omega.
that's why. That's why I
And
didn't like her.
he's never gonna forgive her for that,
No,
So that's another thing too. Which I'll be honest, I don't think it's fair to hold that against somebody forever, but I do get where he's coming.
I would hold it
But just
against
keep in
more
mind, she was
Kenny
9 years
Omega than
old.
her.
She should, you can't. She was a kid, but yeah, I can see why he hates her.
Look. I would hold that more. If that really offends you, I would hold that against because it was Kenny's. Kenny could have said no, that's stupid.
No, this was Kenny's idea.
Well, that's why I would hold it against Kenny, not the girl, because the girl's not.
Oh, he holds it against both of them.
I know. He's like, "Fuck
That's
you!
what
You
I'm
should have
saying.
been smarter, you
No,
bitch."
that's what I'm saying. I agree. Like I'm saying, like I think, like, dude, you can't hold on to this forever. Like that's what I would say to him. But I get where he's coming from. Is what I'm trying. I get where Jim Cornette. He's an angry man, dude. He's old. He's just gonna get angry. Speaking of angry, well, actually not angry, more like dangerous. Mick, he is in the back in the tunnel with dangerous Denise Storm. And he asks her about her first opponent, Susan Green. And she cuts a very short promo, which I could barely hear. I don't know. I actually couldn't even hear it. Got a very low voice.
Yeah.
Sue Henning and Nick Bockwinkel to analyze the next match. And you're right. You mentioned before that Nick Bockwinkel really tries to assess things, right? And yeah, I always like Nick Bockwinkel. And in this match, he picks Denise Storm, even though she is a rookie. And Sue Henning doesn't really have anything. She actually doesn't need to be here, actually.
No.
She should have just been like,
She's there as a favor to Larry.
Yeah. We're going to go to match number 2. This is the first tournament match. It's Dangerous Denise Storm versus Susan Green, who has a cowboy gimmick. And Denise Storm attacks Susan Green right before the bell even rings. And Jim Cornette says Storm is his favorite to win this whole tournament. And the fight goes outside, and there's post shots for both of them. They get back in the ring, and Denise Storm just keeps fudging with her boot. She keeps messing around with the boot, and Joe on commentary is like, "Oh, what's she got in her boot and everything." Susan, she starts yanking on Denise Storm's hair while she's on the ropes, and the ref like yanks Susan Green back, so she gets into it with the referee. And while that's happening, Storm takes a chain out of her boot, and then Susan walks right into a punch with the chain. And fucking Denise Storm just throws the chain like away, but she throws the chain away like right in front of the referee. But it doesn't matter. She wins the match.
It's AEW rules where you could do that in front of the refs. It's okay.
Yeah, it's true. That's where Tony Khan got it from.
Like, there's no PWA rules here.
Did you like this match?
Yeah, it's so funny because this Susan Green's a big girl, right? But it's so funny because when they do her highlight package on the pre-show, it's her getting her ass kicked and losing. And I'm just like, why is this her highlight? Why is this the highlight of her? A lot of the Japanese women, by the way, are doing like MMA style training in an empty gym in their highlight package, which I thought was interesting on the pre-show, which you didn't see.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they train. That's why they're fucking good. They train like motherfucker.
Yeah, so
I guess Susan Green's like the Z-Man of the LPWA.
I mean, but she's a big girl. She's a big, impressive, big body chick. And they kind of treat her like, yeah, jobber. But I thought, like, oh, that's a big girl. Like, that's an impressive looking girl. But
hey,
this match,
Z-Man has an impressive looking body, but he still jobs to the star.
I mean, she kind of reminds me of a female JBL. This match, in terms of how her body's shaped, this match wasn't that bad. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think I'm gonna say that for every single match.
There's not a single match
that's a bad match in the show at all.
There's not a single match that's offensively bad as the Starrcade 91 matches. There's not a single match that gets to that level of stupidity.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no stupidity matches. There are some stupidity finishes.
There's stupid finishes, but they're working hard till they get to the finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And during from bell to bell, they are working hard. And
I'll say this: everyone there, the wrestlers there, are there to prove a point. Nobody got the point. They failed miserably, but they're there to prove a point. Yeah, they're wrestling to be like, we're going to give you a show, and they did better than Survivor Series and Starrcade, and they did, but nobody gave a shit in the long term.
A for effort.
A for effort. And listen, if you like women's, I'll say this right now: you are a women's wrestling fan. If you say you like watching women's wrestling, you like watching Japanese, you never seen this, just go to YouTube right now and watch it, because this is.
I agree with you. Keep going. Say
because this is the type of show a lot of female wrestling fans want. There's no emphasis on cheesecake. There's no emphasis on shitty storylines. It's all about athleticism and women kicking each other's ass, and it's treated seriously by all the men. And this is what you want. So you should go watch it.
Yeah, it's free on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube. We were never addressed any comments from the YouTube. We were supposed to, right?
We will one day. Right, let's see.
Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. So Bonnie Blackstone, she's in the hospitality suite with Reggie Bennet. And Reggie Bennet cuts a promo on Yukari Osawa. And they throw it back to Sue and Nick Bockwinkel. And Let me tell you something. Bonnie Blackstone did a better job analyzing the fucking two of them than these two did.
Yeah.
But the analysts, they both picked Reggie. We're gonna go to match number 3, another tournament match. Reggie Bennet with a hard hat versus Yukari Osawa. Cornette makes a lot of fat jokes in this match.
Yeah,
Fat jokes for
that kind of annoyed me because I actually do think Reggie Bennett's kind of hot.
she is hot. That's why she's popular. She is very voluptuous. So, and I think everybody knows what I mean by that. And that's why I think she's very popular.
She
I
got
think
the big. She's got the biggest tits on the show by far.
yeah. They
The
during the
biggest.
parade, they put her front and center in the parade, right? She's definitely one of the featured stars, and she should be because not only is she very eye appealing, she is also a competent wrestler.
She's
Here's
really
the thing
good.
with her. I had to look her up. If you look at old pictures of her, she is like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And what happens after you stop bodybuilding, your metabolism, all that shit,
You get
gonna
a
happen to
Barrazo Belle Welle.
it's gonna happen to Jordan Grace.
It's
Speaking
got a lot of
of
things. Listen, let me tell you something. A lot of things are gonna happen to Jordan Grace. None of them are gonna be good.
speaking of Jordan Grace, if you're interested in if you think Reggie Bennett is hot when she is, there is a picture that Jordan Grace did where she's doing she's paying tribute to Reggie.
Oh, okay.
The hard
Did you?
hat.
So I found Josh Barnett, the guy in Bloodsport. Because I want to see what she looks like now. You can't find anything of what she looks like now. But Josh Barnett posted a highlight reel of Reggie Bennett in Japanese wrestling, and she's fucking kicking ass from like 94 to 96, right?
Yeah.
And then he also said she was one of the best women. She was one of the best women MMA fighters in Japan history, and she was one of the first trailblazers to move forward female MMA fighting, which I didn't know that about her. So she is one of the like unsung legends. You know what I was thinking when I was watching this show? It would be nice, and maybe Tony Khan could do this. Like some of these women deserve like a little documentary. Like they deserve like Reggie Bennett deserves like an hour-long tribute on something, whether it's Peacock or Honor Club or something. Because
I agree.
Some of these women are toiling in obscurity, but they're setting the stage for Becky Lynch and Giselle Shaw to make a good living. But if these women don't fucking wrestle in complete obscurity, then you're not going to get Sasha Banks and you're not going to get fucking Lita, Trish. You're not going to get any of these women.
Yeah. Reggie Bennett also, she was like,
she
was in Japan for a very long. She even married a Japanese guy.
Yeah.
She was just like, I don't know if she's still there now because I think she divorced and everything. So I don't know if she's.
It's very hard to find any
America
info on her right now.
Yeah, she kind of just like she's old now. She's like 60 something. But
I'm gonna say this: WWE missed the boat not bringing her on. I think she could have been a really good character on the show.
I think so too because she could wrestle and she has a unique look, right? You know who should wrestle like her?
They could have made her the China, like she could have wrestled men in like she could have wrestled Shawn Michaels, or she could have wrestled like Razor Ramon in 93, 94. And I don't think it wouldn't have looked that weird. It would have been like similar to China wrestling Jericho.
Yeah, possibly. I would say like for me, when I watched her wrestle, she does a lot of power moves and stuff. This is like I'm like, oh, this is how if you're a big woman, this is how you should wrestle.
Yeah, she wrestles like Vader,
dude. It's like it's not even a sexist thing. It's like it's a big person thing. Like when you see fucking Vader or a Keith Lee, we want to see you guys throw the little fucking people around, just ragdoll them around and shit. Remember when Keith Lee did that huge fucking deal in AEW?
Yeah,
that was his best moment in AEW. You
know what I'm gonna say? It's too late for Nyla. It's way too late for Nyla Rose to do anything. It's too late for Nyla Rose and Nia Jax. But I would say this to Nikita Lyons. Somebody should sit her down and give her like a VHS tape of all Reggie Bennett matches.
No,
and like
Piper Niven.
Who?
Piper Niven.
For Piper Niven, they already.
You think so? No, I think you could rehabilitate her.
She'd have to get fired and go to like some other company.
I would take her off, and I'm gonna say you're getting a new gear. You're gonna fucking dye your fucking hair, jet black or some shit. and you're gonna just call yourself like I don't know, Viper or whatever the fuck, right? And you're gonna just come and you're just gonna the first person you're gonna fucking ragdoll is fucking Nia Jax. I want you to pick her up and just fucking throw her around.
I
Just
mean,
fucking
I'd
kick
be
butt.
down for it. I just kind of feel like the reason I say Nikita Lyons is that like she's still new and she's more voluptuous than like a fat.
Yeah, she could work too. Yeah,
So
but
yeah, but this was a good match.
this was. By the way, the fat jokes Jim Cornette's making, he's also making to fucking Joe Pedicino.
I know, but it's like, dude, like she's like the hot, to me, she's the hottest chick they've had so far. He's calling her. I'm like,
Yeah, she's the hottest. Well, yeah,
doesn't age well.
Denise Storm is kind of hot too, but
She
Reggie
is.
Bennet is definitely the hottest.
She reminded me of like if Sasha Banks had an ancestor, it'd be that chick.
Yeah, they're both really hot. I would say those two are the hottest.
Yeah.
Those two are the hottest. Anyway, the fight goes outside. The fight's gonna go outside in a lot of these matches. And when they go outside, Reggie, she takes control of the match. And Reggie, like I mentioned, she's a very good power wrestler. I love power wrestlers like this, but she's got these really shitty covers. They're weak as fuck. She doesn't never hooks the fucking leg. It just looked like shit. And I was just like, I wish I could say to her like, can you like put more effort into your covers, like you're trying to win instead of just like this bullshit. Like it was like she knew the person was gonna kick out, so she's like not even on them to allow them to kick out. It's stupid. But anyways, she hits like 3 to 4 gut wrench suplexes. And this is what I want, like the whole Brock Lesnar thing, suplex city, gun wrench, fucking throw, gun wrench, fucking throw, pick him back up, gun wrench, fucking throw. Finally, she hits like a fucking gut wrench tilt whirl slam for the win. I love it. If you're a big person, throw the fucking body around, man.
Yeah,
I like this match. I liked it.
this was a great this was a great match. By the way, so someone posted the breakdowns of the quarter hours from Raw last night.
Mm-hmm.
And the CM Punk Seth Rollins segment. Let's take a break, talk about current news real quick. The CM Punk Seth Rollins segment is so much higher. So the previous segment is 1.5. CM Punk Seth Rollins goes to 1.8, and then nothing comes close to that after. Like, dude, Tony Khan.
Supposedly, CM Punk's merch is also selling in the 6 figures already.
And Dave Meltzer has revealed, and we'll find out if this is true or not, that there's been a massive change in the negotiations for the Raw. Everything is different now, and the factor that made everything different was CM Punk. So everyone, the big rumor is, and people saying he doesn't want to say this, but the big rumor is WB Warner Bros. Discovery is going to sign them. They're offering them because they have CM Punk now. I'll just say this: you should have just fucking made the Young Bucks talk to this guy.
So a couple of things about that. Okay.
Okay.
Number one, there is a good chance Raw may not be on Mondays as well, right? They could move it around, which would be interesting. That would be interesting because could be the first time we'll see Raw possibly not on a Monday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it goes to like TNT, which
or
has
Fox,
NBA.
or Fox. The other thing is, if it goes to Fox, there's other rumor that if it goes to Fox, it'll be 2 hours. I would love it if Raw was 2 hours again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing too. If let's just say they went to WB and they're on TNT as well, do you think they will say, if you want us, you have to kick out AEW? Or do you think they'll be like, we don't give a fuck?
Well, it depends on the offer. I don't know if they do stuff like, we want you the exclusive home, we want to do this, we want to do that,
which is what they normally say.
We want to do more with you than just Raw. I could see them being like, okay, well then we know AEW is going to muddy the market. We can't be cross promoting them, so they need to go. However, I could see if they're like, we'll give you like $1 bazillion. We'll give you like 1.9 billion for Raw for the next. But we don't want to get rid of AEW. It's like, if they're offering more money than any other competitor, but they're like, well, we really also want to keep AEW. I kind of feel like AEW can just stay there, because the thing about it is like, if you're getting this deal because of Punk, you kind of have to thank Tony Khan, because of his mismanagement. You've now, like, your negotiations have changed to such a level that you kind of need this guy around.
You know what they should do too, if that's the thing. They should say, all right, if you want to keep AEW, that's fine, but since it's the same form of entertainment, could you have them promote us on their show?
I would do that, yeah. Well, I
And
would
then you're
if
like,
I
make
would
sure you tune into Monday Night Raw. CM Punk is a huge announcement guy.
I would do this. This is what I would do. I would do this if they're going to stay on the same network. And I don't know if they would do this, but I kind of feel like they would say yes to this if the offer was high enough. You know, there's no pay-per-view in December.
Yeah.
Do Starrcade. Bring back Starrcade. It's on TNT. It's the week of Christmas, and you have crossover matches. So that night.
Well, I mean, AEW has pay-per-views in December.
No, but AEW no December pay-per-view for AEW now. The day after Christmas, they have that Madison Square Garden house show.
Oh, I see. Seriously, take it away. You're saying
Take it away. There's no pay-per-views in December. You get Starrcade, and at Starrcade, it's a joint card with WWE and AEW, but there's 3 matches a year that are crossover. So you might let's say it's this year. It's Kenny Omega versus Seth Rollins. It's the Young Bucks versus the New Day, and it's Britt Baker versus Rhea Ripley. And those are your 3 matches. And then the rest of it is just regular, but it's like a 4-hour show, and it's like a super card. And that's what I would do. Every year you do that.
Be interesting. It'll be interesting. There's a good chance maybe USA goes like, yeah, we know, never mind. We'll give you the extra money to stay on.
I have a feeling something. Yes, things change with Punk. I think David Zazzala actually does like Punk. He's like, I'm in the business.
David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers.
Yeah, remember he brought him up in the Collision.
Yeah.
Maybe I could see them being like, we got more invested in AEW because we wanted to be in the CM Punk business. We don't want to be in the Tony Khan business. So if we
don't want to be in the Hangman Page business.
No. Dude, all they had to do, all Tony Khan had to do was be a boss. All he had to do, man, was be a boss. I mean,
you're asking for a lot there.
Oh my God. The way this is backfired, the way this keeps backfiring, the way this keeps cascading more in Punk's favor than Tony's favor is almost like kind of comical. Like, I would just, at this point, I would just tell Young Bucks never come back. I'm buying out your contract.
Let me ask you a question too. How long do you think CM Punk's going to be able to last in WWE?
I think he's going to last for at least 4 years.
You think he can keep it together for 4 years?
Yes, because it's going to be proving a point to Tony Khan and the
Because there are some people who are saying like, I give him a year at best.
No, I think he works out of spite. He's a spiteful guy. He works out of spite. And he only wins if he retires with Triple H sucking his dick. That's how he wins against the Bucks and Tony Khan. So he's gonna make it work. Because if he doesn't make it work, the Tony Khan's will say, I told you so. But now, if he makes it work, Tony Khan's gonna look like the biggest idiot to ever be in wrestling. And so are the Young Bucks. And that's what he wants. So he's gonna do whatever they want him to do.
That could be possible. That's I could totally see that. Yeah.
Because if you I don't care what happens. Like if CM Punk is walking backstage and Gunther stops him and says, I'm gonna rape your wife tomorrow. If CM Punk snaps at that, even though it's justified to snap at, like anyone would be justified to be like, what did you just fucking say? It's gonna be see, he can't control himself. See, look what he fought Gunther backstage. Oh, this guy's no good. So it doesn't matter what's gonna happen. He's gonna oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. And he's gonna be like, Triple H, we have a meeting. Yeah, Gunther said he was gonna rape my wife. I don't appreciate that. Can you speak to him? Oh yeah, I'll talk to him right away. Thank you so much, sir. Like he's never gonna fight anyone in WWE because he has to prove the Young Bucks wrong. So at the end of the day, when he's going into the Hall of Fame, and he's crying, he can say to the Bucks, if you just had that meeting with me, your company would still be in business. But now I'm in the Hall of Fame.
If they just had that meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they just decided to turn that actual incident
Yes.
to like a money
Which is what
making
they're doing
thing.
with Seth.
You know what's just crazy is like Edge and Matt Hardy did this, and that was really fucking.
That's really,
You
I don't know
know?
if I could have done it if I was Matt Hardy at my age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back in 2005, when I was 24, if I thought I was gonna, if when I was 24 years old, if I thought I was gonna marry a woman, and then she fucked my best friend, and then I was told I had to play fight with this man while she mocks me on
Exactly. Play
national
fight. Yeah.
TV, I don't know if I could have done it. I really
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I don't know if I
And
could
he
have done
did
it.
it, and I think I think if he didn't do it, his career would. I don't know where his career would have went, but that ensured that he had another 20 years of his career.
Did you ever hear Matt Hardy explain what happened with that in his podcast?
Yeah, with Vince's office, where Vince is like a
Yeah,
black.
and he was like, this is my company, right?
Yeah.
I created this pay-per-view. And they're just like, yeah. And he's like, if any of you guys, I'll make sure you don't work in wrestling ever again. Like, but that's what you do as a leader. You
Yeah, because
fucking
Vince
go,
Vince knew. First of all, I look back. Matt Hardy shouldn't have went so public with that. I think that was a major mistake. But
yeah,
Vince
which is
knew
why
I
he
could.
got fired. Which is why
I
he got fired. Yeah.
Yeah, I potentially can make millions off these two, and he was proven right because I think that was the thing that Edge needed to become basically a legend in the business. He needed that extra push.
Needed that to happen to become like one of the top heels at the time. Yeah.
Yes, he needed that. So they were right to pull the trigger on that. And I remember being really excited. I remember running home to see that Raw where he came out of the crowd. And I remember being so excited. Now, did the program stink? Yes. But I was seated. I was invested. I was watching the shows. And then eventually they got me to give a shit about Edge. And then I bought a rated R t-shirt. And then, and now Tony Khan's ruining Edge's legacy. But what I'm saying is that would the Elite CM Punk storyline have like turned everything around? I don't know, but I would have been interested. I would have watched Dynamite.
I would have, if I was Tony Khan, I would. And Conan said this too. He said this. He said Conan said because Conan's a booker of it AAA,
Yeah.
right? And he said, I'm gonna tell you to work a program, and if you don't do it, I go, okay, well, then I'm gonna send you home, and you can't work anywhere until your contract is up. You're just gonna sit at home, and like I'll just take you off of TV, and like I won't release you from a contract and stuff, and like I like basically ice you, and that's what Tony Khan should have said. It'd been like, all right, well, guess what? If you're refusing to do what I tell you to do, then I'm suspending you. I'm sending you home. Until you're ready to play ball.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Can I say if this the worst possible scenario is WWE gets on Warner Bros. Discovery and they throw out AEW, they kick them off the network. If that happens, if I'm Tony Khan, I am going to do everything I can to book the Young Bucks. I'm going to book the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, and Kenny Omega into the biggest jobber losers scumbags on the planet. I am basically going to turn them into Barry Horowitz and I'm even going to put Kenny Omega in that category because if those guys just talk to this guy, if those guys didn't do whatever they did with Cody Rhodes, I think there was some weird thing Cody won't reveal, and he claims it's not the Bucks, but I don't know. If they had just fucking not been so stubborn, I think right now they'd be pretty hot. It's AEW.
What do you call it? Yeah, and he could put it on the Honor Club streaming service.
Dude, imagine if they're told like he shows up for TV tour and they're like, yeah, effective January 1st, you're no longer on TNT. We're taking away the show.
Tony Khan be like, it doesn't matter. I got Honor Club. Doesn't matter. Honor Club. Everybody knows it's popular. Everybody loves it.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, we had a meeting with WWE. Oh, who was in the meeting? Was it Triple H? Nick? No, it was just CM Punk actually. But CM Punk signed the contract. But he said you guys have to be kicked off.
All right. Let's get back to this.
Let's get back to the show.
Let's go back to the ladies superstars of whatever it's called. What is this fucking thing called? Like Super Ladies Showdown. We're gonna go to match number 4. It is Shinobu Kandori versus Desiree Peterson. This is not a tournament match. This is just a standard match.
Mhm.
Kandori starts with a dropkick right away, and it's back and forth. And Kandori wins with a Tiger Bomb in a 4-minute match. This is the second. This is the second shortest match on the pay-per-view. What did you think?
It was fine. It was, it was a fine showcase for both women. I didn't think much of it, but I thought it was fine. And I like Minori. I like that Minori woman. She was very good.
Yeah, it's weird they just had these random, just like one-off matches too. But
I think it's. I think they're trying. I maybe if we watch the weekly show, I think some of these women were like characters they're pushing in the weekly show, so they feel like we have to give them a match.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. Bonnie, she's in the hospitality suite with Denise Storm, and Denise Storm, she's asking her about the semis of the tournaments, and she goes like she ain't worried about Reggie Bennet, and she ain't worried about the Japanese women. Back to the analysis, and basically, Stu and Nick Bockwinkel, the majority of Sue's like analysis is like their age, their weight, and their experience. Their age, their weight, and their experience.
Maybe that's all she's supposed to say.
To be fair, she doesn't know like all these Joshis. So yeah, what else are you gonna base it on? So I'll give them that pretty much. But that's gonna be like every time. That's what she's gonna talk about. That's not a dog I like. I like the weird looking. Yeah. Match number 5 is a tournament match. Harley Saito versus Mizuki Endo. Now, Harley, she does some really fucking stiff kicks, and she's wearing these like shin guards that, right now it's commonplace. Oh, every wrestler wears those shin guards. Back in 1992, I don't think I saw anybody wearing these shin guards in 92. Maybe Once Street Kid, maybe. But yeah, she's wearing these shin guards, and she's fucking stiff kicking. The way she kicks is ridiculous, and it's a good back and forth. Harley hits a tombstone to win in a very exciting match. I think this may have been the best match on the show.
Yeah, I still like the Reggie Bennet matches more because I really like. I kind of felt like I was seeing someone in an alternate universe. She's like the first diva of WWE. You know what I'm saying? But this was probably the best match on the show.
Yeah.
I think this is the match where the crowd is not into it and Jim Cornette gets fucking livid.
No, I think the crowd kind of gets into it because
they do.
Yeah, when they see the kicks, they start going like, "What the fuck?" Because these are hard. Like these are the kicks like you see nowadays.
They're really This is such a forward-thinking show compared to WCW, even WWF. This is such a forward-thinking show in terms of the work rate, man. I got to tell you again, guys, don't sleep. It's on YouTube for free. No, there's no commercial. There's no like ad breaks. It's not monetized.
Well, yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
You have to see this. It's crazy. It's just wild to me a show like this exists like before WrestleMania 8.
Yeah, in 1992, like a show like this existed in America.
And Nick Bockwinkel's there, and Jim Cornette. Yeah. Such a weird show.
It is. It is kind of weird. It's like way ahead of its time.
Yeah, and it's all women, which is like no one talks about this fucking show. That's why those
things that are ahead of its time, it's not financially. It's just not going to do well because it's just people don't get it and stuff. Which is unfortunate. Which is very unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Mick Karch, he is with Eagle Sawi, and she says basically she's asking her a question. These are Japanese women; they can't really speak English. She goes, "Hello, yes, very good."
This was almost like a parody. Like she did not know what to say.
I didn't know why they were fucking interviewing them. It was so stupid. But anyway, there's some more analysis. At this point in the analysis, Nick Bockwinkel does mention Sue's lineage. She's Larry's daughter, and she is Mr. Perfect's sister. And Nick says, Nick Bockwinkel, when he asks for his pick, he picked Eagle because he said, I saw her working out, and she means business. And I was like, oh, that's a good point. So we're going to go to match number 6 and throw a tournament match. Eagle Sawi versus Midori Saito. And Eagle, she's the heel, and while she's coming into the ring, she fucking like kicks the barricade, and she fucking scares some fans. And she's wearing this fucking obnoxious like fashion
Mhm.
gear. So she's getting some real good heel heat. She's the heel, like 100% the heel in this. And even to add to the heel heat, she, I would say, on this show was the person who did the most amount of hair pull,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And which is what, she's like a bad guy. People like don't like that shit. Saito tries to fire back up, but what do you call it? It's back and forth, and both ladies they trade half crabs each, but Eagles it's a little better because Eagle just really fucking sits back on her back and she pulls her hair and then she fucking hooks her arm. It looks like a great finishing move. Like she's got the leg. You know what it kind of reminded me of? It reminded me of a little bit of the Tequila Sunrise
Yeah.
that Conan does. Great submission spot, but Saito gets out of it, and then Eagle hits her with like a tilt-a-whirl reverse slam for the win. After the match, she's still healing it up, so she's like cursing off fans, and she's like attacking fans. And as she's leaving, somebody fucking spits on her. He gets really mad at that. But hey, what do
Hey,
you expect? You're
listen,
agitating fans.
this is still in the territory days almost. We're not really, not in the modern era yet. So,
Yeah, yeah.
listen, at least
Just
these people care. I mean, you got people that care enough like that in 1992. Most of the times they just sat there falling asleep for women's wrestling. So
exactly, yeah. What did you think about this match?
another good one, another great match.
I liked it. So Mick is in the back with Black Venus and her manager Boogaloo Brown, and these two, to their credit, are the first ones to actually give a decent heel promo. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like it was like your
Boogaloo,
generic heel
Boogaloo
promo.
Brown was like a more talented Teddy Long.
Yeah, yeah, but they both do like the typical heel promo, like, but it was like, oh, it's finally somebody who knows how to cut a promo. And Nick gives the lineage for this next match an analysis. Nick Bockwinkel gives the lineage of Rockin' Robin. He says, oh, Rockin' Robin, she's like the daughter of like Grizzly Smith, so she knows what she's doing. And he says, if I were her though, I would watch out for the manager. The manager, I've had experience. The manager's going to play a key role in this. So that was good. You're right. Like Nick was great on this.
Mhm.
Match number 7, Black Venus with Boogaloo Brown versus Rockin' Robin. And even on commentary, they mentioned that she is a former WWF Women's Champion. And they also give her, tell the audience her lineage. Grizzly Smith's daughter, the sister of Sam Houston, but they do not mention Jake Roberts.
Probably because he's currently in WWE at the time.
Oh, I guess
I
you're
could
right.
see Vince being like, you're trying to. I think all they can really say is she's a former WWF star. But if like they try to like, I don't know, try to imply that she's currently involved with Jake the Snake, Vince could be like, you're using my guy to promote your show. I could see Vince
Yeah.
back then being that big of a dick to be like,
I can see that, yeah.
yeah.
So Black Venus attacks Rockin' Robin before the bell, and Black Venus, she's a brawling wrestler, so she does a lot like the headbutts and shit like that. They go to the outside, and she slams Robin on the announce table. Robin's bleeding, and during this match, commentators mentioned that there was an ice storm before the show,
Oh
and
wow. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's February.
yeah, and it's in Minnesota, so I'm assuming. I'm sure it wasn't everything, but that's probably part of the reason why they only drew 400 people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah,
more
that's
difficult.
probably it. That's probably it more. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So Venus hits an electric chair drop, and then she holds on to Rockin' Robin's tights for the win. Um. Venus is she after the match she spits on Robin, and she's also bleeding. And then Rockin' Robin after the match she attacks Boogaloo Brown. What did you think about this match, which was not a tournament match?
I liked it. At first, I was like, ugh, because Rockin' Robin has never really done anything for me. But the way the match was booked was, I think you go in thinking Rockin' Robin because when you're a former WWF guy, the other companies give you the world and they treat you like the only star. Instead, Rockin' Robin was made to look. She it wasn't an easy fight with Black Venus. Like Black Venus was beating the shit out of her most of the match, and I think it did more for Black Venus. Rocket Robin was a good role because they established that she's a former WWF champion, And then the entire match, it makes Black Venus look better. That Black Venus was kind of like manhandling her and outwitting her the entire match.
Yeah,
You know?
and I think it also, to me, it was explainable because it's like this is a different type of opponent than Rockin' Robin's used to.
Yeah.
She's like a brawler. She's taking her outside, slamming her on tables. Remember, this is 1992. They didn't do shit like that too much. Even the men, they didn't grab people and then slam them in the
Yeah,
announce table.
and you know, to me, the ship is sailed with Rockin' Robin, and this is the best use for her. Get over your
Yeah,
your
yeah.
new stars.
She's out of her element, and she also lost due to some kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, so you
Pulling
can kind of still be like,
it.
maybe if it was fair, Rockin' Robin could have pulled it off. But ultimately, we know she wouldn't have pulled it off. This woman was too.
Yeah. So this was good. Yeah. Mickey, the Mick is in the back in the tunnel again. This time he is with Reggie Bennet, and Reggie Bennet cuts a very docile like promo on Denise Storm, and then back to the analysis. The analyst Stu picks Reggie to win because of her weight, which the weight seems to be very important to Sue. She goes, the bigger women always win.
The weight's important to Jim Cornette too. Yes.
Yeah. They love mentioning the weight. She weighs more. She weighs more. She's gonna win.
You know what though? I could see. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, Vince would just have like her in the back eating. Like, oh, let's cut to Big Reggie, and she's just like eating cake. She can't stop eating.
It's better she didn't go, dude. I'm telling you.
Better actually. They would have treated her like China. They wouldn't.
Yeah, they wouldn't have treated her like China because Reggie Bennett did not have China's butt.
No,
she
was a way better worker than China.
Yeah, of course. I don't think anybody would say China was a good worker. Match number 8 is now we're in the semis. By the way, if you're wondering what the tournament is, this is to crown the first LPWA's Japanese champion. So we're into the first semi match. Dangerous Denise Storm versus Reggie Bennet. Both women come out with new gear, and during announcements, Al adds 1 more pound to Reggie. So she's now at she was previously
he notices that.
Yeah, and I
can't wait to comment on that.
Yeah. Dude, I bet you with that extra weight, like Sue Henning was having an orgasm. Like, oh, she's the match goes outside, and when it goes outside the ring, it gets very physical. Like they're chopping the shit out of each other, and they get back in the ring, and this is where they kind of have like the first time I'm seeing like some kind of miscommunication because Reggie, she bounces off the rope and she just drops down and just lands on her face. And she just lays there. I was like, something happened. They just fucked something up.
Yeah.
Reggie, as the match progresses, Reggie, by accident, she clotheslines the referee, and while the ref's down, Denise Storm gets a chair. But while she's trying to use it, Reggie Bennet grabs the chair, and she goes for a chair shot. She swings it, and she misses. But the referee gets up and sees this, and he calls for a DQ win for Storm. Well, the way I explained it happened, it wasn't executed that well. It looked really hokey.
You explained it a lot better than how they executed it.
Yeah, it was. So the ending was kind of, but I get why they do it. I get it.
Yeah, you gotta keep Reggie. You gotta make Roman strong, and you gotta make Reggie look strong.
You gotta bring one of the Usos. You gotta bring Solo Sikoa in.
I like the match up until the finish. I probably would have had Denise Storm pin her by cheating instead of the DQ. I get why they did it. I get, it's still the early 90s. I get why they did it like that, but I overall, besides the finish, I liked it. I like this match. Again, Reggie Bennet for me is 2-2.
Yeah. Mick versus not Mick. Mick is in the tunnel this time with Harley Saito, and once again it's a Joshi doing an unnecessary promo that doesn't go anywhere, and also some unnecessary analysis of the fucking match. We're gonna go to match number 9, second semi match. Harley Saito versus Eagle Sawi. This might be the one you were talking about with Jim Cornette was saying like.
I think this is the second time he does it. Actually, you're right. He does this. He gets annoyed at the crowd twice.
Yeah. So Eagle Sawi, she does something stupid in this match. She starts biting. She starts doing these biting spots where she's biting the boot, which I think is stupid. Like, that's not gonna hurt, dude. You know, like you're biting
Yeah.
the boot, like it's just really dumb, and it's also dirty. You're basically, I wouldn't like you're putting dirt in your fucking mouth, the bottom of the shoe. I just thought it was stupid. The match ends with a time limit draw, but then Wally Carbo just comes out to the ring and he goes, "Oh, this one, this one, this one." That's what he does. And Harley Saito wins, supposedly based on points, which they never fucking explain.
No, they
Beginning of the
should have
show.
said if there's a time limit draw, Wally Carlo will just pick the winner.
Yeah, they should have just said that. Wally Carbo is here to take notes, and he's gonna be like assigning points. They never explained. This was like the stupidest ending of any match.
Yeah, the match was good. The ending was stupid. When the time limit draw, I'm like, oh, maybe Denise just wins by default, and that she'll cut a heel promo. Like they were too scared to fight me, and then they're like, oh, actually, this woman wins, and I'm like, well, now you kind of took away. If someone's gonna win, then just let them pin. Unless like maybe there's like you don't know. Maybe there was like Bret Hart level politics with the Joshi wrestlers, and Eagle was like, I'm not losing, and the other I'm not getting pinned, and they were like, all right, we'll just do it like this, and she was like, okay,
Possible. That
that
is.
could be it. Yeah.
All right. So Bonnie, she's back in the hospitality suite with this time with Brad Rayans, who is a trainer, wrestling trainer, and he's also a former AWA superstar.
A lot of people
And
give him Eric Bischoff. A lot of people give him a lot of credit to getting a lot of people ready for the ring. He might have had a big hand in behind the scenes on this show.
Brad Rayans, I like because he's on like the first time I would see this guy often is like in the AWA shows when they were on ESPN and stuff, I think. And he wasn't he like an actual like amateur wrestler too? Like he was
Yeah, he's kind of like a Tom Pritchard, where Tom Pritchard was never that good of a wrestler, but he's trained like I mean, he's trained The Rock, he's trained Kurt Angle, he's trained like some of the greatest of all time. And Brad
I
Regan's kind of like that too. I think Brad Regan's trained Brock Lesnar. Look that up. I could be wrong.
who yeah, like who has Brad Rayans trained?
Tony Khan. He should train.
In pro wrestling. You know what the thing with Brad Rayans, his problem is he was like boring.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have
Well, that
he
same
didn't
thing with Tom Pritchard. Same thing with Tom Pritchard.
yeah, like his and boring in the sense of like his he didn't have like a gimmick. His gimmick was I'm a I'm a very good wrestler, you know? Like and so let's see the people he has trained. So Vader, John Bradshaw Layfield, the Nasty Boys, Jerry Lynn, Tom Zink, Joe Henning, and Tori, which actually leads right into this. Because the reason why he is being interviewed in a ladies wrestling promotion, a pay per view, is because he's a trainer, and Bonnie asks him, "You train both Terry Powers and Reggie Bennet." And
Oh, okay. There you go.
yeah, she mentions that both of them, but Reggie's already out of the tournament, so she's asking her about the Terry Powers because Terry Powers match is coming up, and Brad, he gives his analysis. That's actually really good. He's just like basically like, I get it, she's a rookie, and people are saying like she too much too soon and she ain't ready, but he's like, I think she's ready. You'll see, We're gonna bring home a championship or anything. Then we cut to Mick. He's with the Glamour Girls, and they're wearing minks. And the analysis, this getting ready for our 10th matches for the LPWA tag titles. And the analysis picked the Glamour Girls to be the most likely to win because of their experience. The Glamour Girls are Judy Martin and Leilani Kai, who are the
Who we've
champions
seen
versus the
before in the
challengers.
WWF.
What? Yes, we've seen them in WWF and WrestleMania.
They've been on this journey.
Yes. And their opponents are Bambi and Malaya Hosaka. They do mention on commentary as well that they are former WWF.
Isn't Malaya Hosaka like really famous?
She has been in a lot of promotions.
Okay, I thought like she was like a big deal in Japan.
I think she wrestled in WCW.
I think you might be right about that.
Yeah, let me see. She has wrestled in. Yeah, she has. Yeah, she wrestled in WCW. Yeah. And I think she even wrestled in WWE.
I remember she's one of the people that like Meltzer, not because he wants to fuck her, but because of how good of a worker she is, that he has a hard on for. I think
She is. She might be. You know what? Here's the thing, though. The more pay-per-views we watch, we're probably gonna see more of her.
All right. But yeah, no,
Yeah, because
I thought like when I remember like during the pre-show, I've heard that name before. Is she like the biggest like Joshi star of the show? But I mean, she's given a pretty good role besides the woman who wins the tournament. But let's talk about the match.
yeah. By the way, she is not. She is actually. She's built from being from Japan, but she's actually American.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, she's
She's
like. You know what she's like? She's like fucking what's his name? Ricky Steamboat. She's like part Japanese, part something else. She was like born and raised in Hawaii and shit like that. You know?
yeah,
Um, and they just give her a martial arts fucking gimmick because she looks
they're
Japanese.
racist.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they what do you call it? As I mentioned, they do mention that the Glamour Girls are former WWF Tag Team Champions, and the Glamour Girls, they're much older than everybody else in the show, but they do that old school selling, which I fucking love. And if you want to know what the old school selling is, it's this: they sell every hit they take. If you slap them in the face, they fucking sell it. If you throw them to the turnbuckles, they fucking sell it. They sell every fucking hit. And that's what I love. I love old school stuff where everything hurts because everything does hurt. If I fucking punch you in the face, you gotta fucking act like it hurts. You
Yeah,
know, you don't just brush it off and punch me back. That's stupid. You know. Um, the good guys, the faces, take most of the beating in this match, and they do make a comeback. But Judy Martin hits a powerbomb on Bambi when the ref's not looking for Leilani Kai to win the match in a switcheroo finish. Fans were really into this match. There was a lot of heat in this match. This wasn't
yeah.
a bad
I
match.
think because these two women are pretty well known at this point. Like they've been
Mhm.
around. And I think even like they wrestled in AWA for a while, so I'm sure they know them from there. Also WWF. I mean, hey, Leilani Kai, first WrestleMania. That's a big feather in your cap. You basically were in the semi-main event of at the one of the biggest shows ever. Yeah, this match was okay. I didn't love it as much as the first tag match, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's. I agree. It's not as good as the first tag match. It's longer, but it's not as good. But man, there's something about that old school selling that I'm just like really
Yeah,
a big. That I
yeah,
wish
and I
nobody
think
does it anymore. Nobody does it anymore. Not
the
even
crowd,
MJF.
yeah, because
He
the
thinks
crowd's
he's a
more into
throwback.
it, and then I think the crowd's more into it because Bambi at the time is a star. And again, like
Mhm.
I know no one remembers these women, but I mean, like we're talking in terms of like, and these two and the Glamour Girls are big stars. I mean, they were at Royal Rumble '88. No one else was.
Mhm. So Mickey is in the tunnel again, this time with Denise Storm, and then once again he's asking her about the finals and who's she in. What do you think's gonna happen? And she's just like, well, my opponent is Harley Saito, and she goes, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show her a good old American butt kick. So good.
Mhm.
The analysis this time Sue picks Harley for the finals win because of her huge weight. No, I'm just kidding. She picks Harley because she
Huge
goes
kid.
for the first time. She picks someone not because of their size, but because she got those kicks, which is true.
Yeah,
She got
her
those
kicks are
kicks.
good.
Yeah, the good kicks. The 11th match this is a tournament finals for the LPWA Japanese Championship. Harley Saito versus Denise Storm. There's this part where Denise Storm has Harley in like a headlock, and she's going like, and Jim Cornette goes, "That's Japanese for."
Jim Cornette could be really funny at sometimes.
Yeah, that made me laugh. Harley hits so this match, Harley at the end hits kind of like a reverse victory roll with a bridge for the win. I love this move. This is the same move Shawn Michaels used on Chris Jericho to win his match in WrestleMania 19. I don't know what this move is called. It's great. I fucking love this move. It's like you're behind the opponent and then you jump up, you hook your legs under their armpits and you fucking like pull them over and then you fucking roll over and you do like a bridge for the win, you know?
Yeah,
It's a great move.
yeah, no, it
And
is.
people pop. They were like, the commentators like, I've never seen that before. What the hell, you know?
This was another really great match. A great way to end the tournament. This was a really good tournament. Better than
Yeah.
the WrestleMania Force tournament.
Mhm.
Better than the Battle Bowl.
That's definitely better than bettable. Harley wins and she gets a trophy at the end.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna go back to Bonnie, and she's with Terry Powers.
Who becomes
And Terry
Tori
Powers, I'm sorry,
toward the end
and
too.
about her match. And she says her training, how are you preparing for this match? And she said, I've been training different to get ready for Lady X. And she goes, well, what's the difference that I'm using now? The power of positivity. And then she screams, it's a new day. Yes, it is.
And
Yeah,
she starts throwing pancakes at everybody.
that's right. WWF's Tori was the first one to talk about the power of
Mhm.
positivity. We're gonna go to our last match. It's for the LPWA Championship. Terry Power versus the champion, Lady X, who is actually
Peggy Lee Leather, who we
yeah.
talked about in the AWA Super Clash episode.
You're right. Terry, by the way, looks like a star. She's humongous. She's got muscles everywhere. She got muscles, got
She
muscles.
looks like a star even a few years after this.
And she's like her gear looks good. Peggy Lee is a pro, but for me, this match, it was just like a basic match. It's probably because Terry's so green, so you could only have a basic match.
You know, it's almost like Terry's Terry because Terry's the Hulk Hogan, where the work rate's not that good, but she's just not over enough to be the Hulk Hogan. You know, in other words, like her work rate's not that good. She's conquering like this big giant evil monster, which is what Hogan's MO was.
Yeah,
But she's not Hogan, and Peggy Lee Leather is not fucking King Kong Bundy. So it is what it is. The work rate on the rest of the show is so good that they really can't compete. But I don't think they're supposed to compete. They're supposed to make you they're supposed to make you like Terry Power, and it worked on someone because she's the only one who gets hired by Vince. So
that's true.
yeah.
Actually, he does hire Bonnie Blackstone for a bit.
Oh, what does she do?
There's like interviews and shit.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Lady X. So in this match, Lady X goes up on top, and while the ref's not looking, and she fucking takes something out of her bra and she puts it in her mask. It's a foreign object. She's gonna use it for the headbutt. And when she goes down for the headbutt, Terry's actually supposed to move, but she actually connects and hits Terry. But Terry no sells it, climbs to the top, and hits a flying crossbody for the win. She wins the title. This was probably the weakest match out of the whole show, but it just I can't say it's a bad match. It's just a basic match. That's the way
It's on a WWF show back then. This would have been like what a women's match would have been, but it was fine. I mean, there's nothing as bad as the Abdullah the Butcher Starrcade 91 match on this show. There's nothing as stupid as half those matches. So when we say like, oh, this match was, we're not saying it's bad. This whole show, including the pre-show, is really fun. I recommend, because you're not going to believe what you're seeing half the time. You're going to be like, oh, especially if you've brainwashed by WWE and like the Meltzers, you're going to be like, I thought this shit didn't exist in '92. You know,
I would say
it's a really good show. It's free.
It's free. It's on YouTube. If you just like one day just bored, or you kind of want to, if you're like a fan who's like really likes Joshi wrestling, I would say watch this.
If you like big old titties, there's Reggie Bennet.
Yeah, I mean the quality on YouTube is kind of shitty, but it is what it is.
It was recorded. I think somebody ordered it and recorded it and uploaded it.
Yeah.
We're never gonna. This is the best it's gonna get. Ever.
Yeah, it cuts right off.
Yeah. So guys, let's review the next 4 weeks. Next week we're doing Super Bowl 2, which is Sting versus Lex Luger. 2 weeks we got WrestleMania 8, which is Sid versus Hulk Hogan. 3 weeks we have Wrestle War 92, which is the Dangerous Alliance versus Sting Squadron. And then in 4 weeks we have Beach Blast 92, which is Rick Rude versus Ricky Steamboat in a 30-minute Iron Man match. What are you looking forward to, Andrew Lee, bro?
Sid Hogan.
Yeah.
Because the last way was at Royal Rumble, it just like, I really wanted to see those guys fucking fight. That way they ended it. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna.
What about you?
I'm still Wrestle War 92. I'm looking forward to that a lot. So, and
Wrestle War 92.
Yeah, with the Dangerous Alliance War Games match. Like I said last week, everyone says it's the best War Games match ever. So.
Oh man, I don't know if you should say stuff like that, because now the expectation is so high. I feel like how like you gotta have low expectations for it
Yeah.
to like enjoyable. Well, we'll
Well,
see.
listen, in this match's defense, is the only War Games with Stone Cold Steve Austin, so maybe that's the factor.
Maybe Stone Cold is a hell of a talent. You're right.
So, guys, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. I have the Patreon. $5 gets you the video version, and yeah, we gotta go. We'll see you next week for Super Brawl 2.